Hi, this is the professor. I'm back with a PowerPoint called It's a Wonderful Country, and this is a takeoff on It's a Wonderful Life. And this is for all the Ferguson protesters of all races. So my question is, who is Potter? He's a central character to that movie. Who is George Bailey, and what is the building and loan? We have Potter. He's the rich banker and slumlord who owns most of the town, and he rents to the poor in the town. He's selfish and uncaring. He wants to destroy the building and loan. And then we have George Bailey. He's a younger man. He runs the building alone. He inherited it from his father. And he's poor himself. He unselfishly gives loans to his neighbors so they can be free from Potter. And he says that the building loan exists just to thwart Potter's desire to control everyone and own everything. There's George Bailey at the building alone with a sign in the background that says, "Own your own home." So this is a credit union. So what is this building a loan? It's where neighbors voluntarily deposit their savings into a community bank. Like I said before, it's a credit union type thing. And that bank then loans out those funds to others who want to own their own homes. So actually the people that are putting their savings into the bank, they're in essence are loaning it out to their fellow neighbors. So this is democracy in action. This is where voluntarily people are getting together and having an economy between themselves. It's the opposite of what Potter offers. Potter doesn't want people to own their own homes. He wants them to be paying rent to him. He wants to be the slumlord. The building alone stands in his way. The plot. Um, so George's Uncle Billy, at the end of the day, takes all the cash from the savings and loan and puts it in Potter's bank, but he loses it on the way there or when he's at the bank. And so here is a picture of him looking for it. Well, guess who gets the cash? So Potter finds the cash and he realizes he can use this to get his revenge against George because George has been in his way for all these years and turned him down with a really lucrative um, job offer, and he knows that he can destroy the building alone because they won't have enough cash to pay out their depositors that want some cash out. So the word gets out on the street and there's a run on the bank. The depositors become a mob and they panic. They demand their money out. Of course, the money isn't there in the bank. It's been loaned out to the people that are buying homes. So Potter, kind and generous as he is, he offers them 50 cents on the dollar. And some people want to take him up on that, but that would destroy the building alone. Even George panics and he yells at Billy and he grabs him. And he says, "You stupid old fool." So Potter is winning by dividing. He's turning people against each other. Here's a picture of George with the people that have come to the bank to get their money out. And some people want all their money out, and some people want just a little bit, and some just enough to get them by. And George is pleading with them. He says, "Now listen to me. I beg of you not to do this thing. If Potter gets a hold of this building alone, there'll never be a decent house built." He also says we've got to stick together. George says to the mob, "Can't you understand what is happening here? Potter is buying. We can get through this thing all right. We got to stick together though. We got to have faith in each other." And here he's pictures of him telling off Potter how he's a sick and frustrated old man that he wants to own everything and everybody. George appeals to their love of freedom. He tells them to stick together. Don't run to Potter. We are all in this together. What they want is to divide us and conquer us. And then, of course, in the story, where George wants to commit suicide and he's allowed to see the future, and he sees a future without the building alone, and all the things that it's done for the people. And he gets to see the difference between a Bedford Falls with the building loan on the left here. This is Bailey Park. And Bedford Falls without the building loan on the right is Pottersville, where Potter owns the town. He's actually named the town after himself. It's not named Bedford Falls anymore, but Pottersville. And everybody lives in his slums. Well, the future isn't pretty. Bedford Falls is a completely different town. People aren't civil to each other. Potter owns the town, and people don't own their own homes. So George's nightmare, what he saw in the future, could be America's nightmare. So America without the rule of law, what that brings is mob rule, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. America without the rights of the individual means state control. America without citizens able to own their businesses and homes, they become renters and servants. America without an economy based on merit equals winners and losers picked by the elites. Merit means you have a work ethic and you've earned what you get versus somebody picking it for you. So the agitators of America, the communists, they want state control. Anarchists, they want no control, mob rule, no security. Racists, society is based on the tribe and who is the most powerful. Elitists, they're ruled by those with the education, the power, the money, and the connections. All of the above end up with the many being ruled by the few. So the battle is against elitists of all brands. They divide the population by race or by economic class. They stir up the young crowd. They use the media for propaganda. They use the schools for propaganda. The elite's aim is to control and use those who do not question or have enough information to see what they are doing. All revolutions but one have ended badly. And I've listed 3 out here as an example because these are fairly commonly known and fairly recent. So there was a French Revolution. Everything seemed great in the beginning. But they turned on each other and they ended up with a dictator, Napoleon, and thousands were killed. Then you have communist Russia in 1917. They freed the proletariat. There was lots of big words in the beginning about how they were going to free people and give them their own land. But then eventually they enslaved them on farms. They put them in prisons and they created a police state. Millions were killed. And they exchanged the czar for party bosses. So instead of having the elite being the czar and his family and the ones that he picked, it became the Communist Party bosses, became the elites. Communist China freed the proletariat, but they killed the doctors, the intellectuals, the business people, anybody that would be smart enough to revolt against what was being done in the country. And they created a police state with thought control. And what happened in communist China is they really got the emotions of the young siding with their desires, and when they came into power, then those were idealistic people were killed. Millions were killed. They exchanged the emperor for Chairman Mao. So instead of having an emperor, now they had Emperor Mao. So you're being used. You're being offered a one-night stand. This isn't a long-term proposal. You think you're part of something big that's going on, but it's not really. You're just being used until your usefulness is gone, and then you'll be left. So you're getting into bed with us, and it'll be a nirvana, is what they say. But every revolution to date, except one, has turned on its energetic, idealistic young people. That means killed or jailed. Do you really think they're going to let you have free thought and action when a new government gains power? It's always ended badly. One revolution did work out. One revolution resulted in every individual being affirmed to have equal rights. One revolution resulted in no one being killed. Supporters on the other side were allowed to remain in the country. One revolution put their beliefs into writing so that no one person or group could change the revolution. It wasn't this thing where you have a revolution and then what it ends up being is something totally different than what you thought it was going to be. It was put in writing and they stuck with it. That's what the Constitution was all about. That was the American Revolution. So who is Potter? Potter could be a lot of different things, but for me Potter is symbolic for the elites in any form who want to control and own the rest of us. It could be bankers. That's what Potter was in the movie, but So it could be that, it could be Wall Street, it could be the rich, um, it could be the bureaucrats, it could be a race, it could be the communists, it could be the socialists. The goal is control. What is the building alone? It's the American people working together against the elites. Do not let them divide us by race or income. Do not listen to their propaganda in the media or schools. Be an owner, not a renter. Do not run to Potter when times are hard. Do not let communists, socialists, and anarchists convince you there is something wrong with democracy and capitalism. It's not perfect, but there's all the other systems, which we're going to look at next, have failed completely. Democracy and capitalism is the only two systems that have led to the empowerment and the freedom and the standard of living rising that has ever been created. So I'm begging you, just like George did, I'm begging you, don't let them divide us by race or income. Don't let them get away with their propaganda. Don't let them build up their police state. Don't let agitators convince you to sell out to Potter by giving up on democracy and capitalism. In the final words here, I go back to George Bailey. What he told the people is we got to stick together. Thank you.